Hello, Niver. This is your favorite host, Chizuba Katie, and you're listening to Novels and Bits podcast. This is a new week, and last week my schedule of releasing the podcast was like, because I just felt lazy. I was reading, I was making new scripts, but boy, was I just lazy to edit and put out new podcast episodes. Out of 4 episodes I was supposed to put out, I put out 3, so that's a mighty major success. However, I hope this week we meet the mark, and I've felt more and more like sleeping. I mean, it's a new year, I'm supposed to be like hyped up, and I am to a certain degree, but under other times I just feel like sleep. Like somebody let me sleep. Anyhow, let's continue where we left off in the last episode. We've been doing the story by Jennifer L. Armentrout from Blood and Earth. So where we left off in the last episode, Poppy, she lost her guard, Rylan. Rylan was killed, and Poppy attended his funeral, and the guards were even surprised she did because she's a maiden, the child of the gods. Where they ascended, the ruling class don't even regard them. Poppy regards them, and that means so much to the gods. I mean, you can feel it from the way they're whispering and how they look at her. Now, after that, Poppy has to attend the weekly council meeting, a town hall meeting, something like that, where the commoners come forward to be judged by the ascended. So there's a particular family there that are now pleading with the ascended that, hey, our first and second child died from a wasting disease. So I know we're supposed to give you this third child for the rights and co, but can we keep this child? You get? And they were like, no, that the gods, it's what has to be done. No sensitivity at all. So there was such a heavy resentment from the people who were present that witnessed this. After this whole incident, Poppy returns to her room in the castle. And that night, she just can't sleep. She just keeps thinking how she can help people in her capacity as a maiden. So by the time they're getting her ready in the morning for the weekly meeting with the priestess, she's yawning. She's not even looking forward to it. She's not someone who can take a nap during daytime, because she just can't once the sun is out. Victor, her guard, comes to inform them. It's Tony that is getting Poppy ready. So Victor comes to inform both Poppy and Tony that they are going to be meeting with the Duke and Duchess instead, not the priestess. Instantly, the sleep flees from Poppy's eye. The room that they meet him, that is the Duke and Duchess, is cold. But it is far better than the chamber he usually prefers. That is the chamber he normally, in quotes, punishes her. And she's been summoned there far too often. In the office there are Hawke and the commander. That is Hawke now, the new guard that came that, Poppy was even suspecting they might actually place as a royal guard, although he's young. So he's to replace... Duke doesn't even know the name of the guard that passed away. You understand? That's Poppy's guard that was killed. I was like, he's to replace, what's his name again? Victor now answered, Rylan killed, your grace. Ah, yes, Ryan. Not Rylan, he's saying Ryan. With Ryan's death, you are down one guard. No one corrects the Duke. Again, the Duke added, after a pause, a faint twist of his lips, forming a mockery of a smile. 2 guards lost in 1 year. I hope this isn't becoming a habit. He said it as if it's somehow Poppy's fault that her guards die while protecting her bodyguards. Hawke may be new to the city, but it made perfect sense to the commander that he be Poppy's guard, as he wouldn't be as complacent as those who've been in the city, who feels like the shadow's seen everything. Hawke is in that position where he's looking at everything as a potential danger, something that all the other guards, any other guards they'll put Poppy with, will not look at it. Do you understand? Also, if there's a case where Poppy is suddenly summoned beyond the rise, like outside of the city, Hawke has traveled those routes. He would go with her instead of them looking for a huntsman that can ferry her through. Duke now says, the dissenters and the dark one are not the only things to fear out there, as you know. Poppy did know, and what was said did make sense. There were fewer huntsmen, and not many guards were suited for travel outside the rise. Those who were had to excel at killing. Wasn't that what Hawke said he was really good at? They did talk a lot that time that she met with him. Not that she met with him, that they ran into each other, that they met at that Red Pearl, that's in, that place. And when she asked him, what are you really good at? He told her, kill it. Like, he said it point blank. So if you're going to actually excel at guarding Poppy, you have to be good at killing. So Poppy thinks the gods hate her for this predicament, that why of all the people they had to pick to be her replacement guard, why does it have to be Hawke? Hawke seems amused by the scenario. But Poppy can't be sure. Then comes the part that as her guard, he has to see her face because right now she's still wearing her veil, she's covered. But she has to take it off so that Hawke would see her face, what she looks like, so that he's not disoriented if he sees it in the middle of defending her. Maybe this type of thing that he's fighting for her, and somehow the veil comes off and he sees her face for the first time and it now makes him look like, oh my gosh, is that how you look? And precious seconds he's distracted might be the end of them. So it's like, I must see her face right now so that you're not going to be caught off guard later. Duke is quite cheerful for this part, which is sickening. His cheerfulness of, oh, you're going to take off your veil so they'll see it, so he'll see your face, is as though, oh, so that they can see that you're ugly. That kind of sick thing. So Poppy braces herself. She takes off the veil with help from Tony. One side of her face is a masterpiece. Apparently, it's so beautiful. The other is a nightmare, according to the Duke. It's the Duke who says this. But Hawke looks at her and says, both halves are as beautiful as a whole. Now, Poppy lifts her chin, waiting for the look of shock or revulsion, or even worse, pity. She expected nothing less. Beauty is something highly coveted and worshipped. Flawlessness even more, because beauty was considered godlike. Hawke now swears to her, with my sword and with my life, I vow to keep you safe, Penelope. He spoke, voice deep and smooth, reminding her of rich, decadent chocolate, because she likes chocolate a lot. Now, from this moment until the last moment, Hawke swears to her, I am yours. Now, when Poppy's back to her room, she's now thinking to herself, that wasn't the way it was supposed to be. Normally, if guards are swearing to protect Poppy, what they say is, with my sword and with my life, I vow to keep you safe, Maiden, the chosen. From this moment until the last moment, I am yours. That was how Victor had sworn his oath, as did Haynes and then Ryland, the other guards. But Hawke had sworn to keep Penelope safe, not the maiden, not the chosen. Do you get? There's just something there. Now, Tony, she is so thrilled that Hawke is a new royal guard. But when she sees how unenthusiastic Poppy is, she's suspicious. Poppy now has to come clean that I've actually kissed that guy. Tony is upset because now she wants all the tea. When did you kiss him? You did not tell me. Aspa. Poppy now gives her the tea share but leaves out a few details. She's worried Hawke might recognize her and might go to the Duke with that information. She's now telling Tony he has to be one of the youngest royal guards, if not the youngest. It's clear he's interested in advancement, and what better way to secure that than to gain the Duke's favor? You know how his favorite guards or staff are treated? They're practically treated better than those in the court. All the worries Poppy has is bulwash to Tony, who believes that things are about to get excited. Poppy is in somewhere called Atrium with Tony, and Hawke is standing guard there. The way he's thorough, he'll check it, check that. He's just on full alert. It attests to the fact that Ryland truly grew complacent, because Ryland sometimes even come close and gisting with them. He's not really looking everywhere the way Hawke is looking. Normally, this is all it is. That is, Poppy will just be there with Tony for a while, more like a sunny room or so. That's what this atrium is. But then two ladies in wait join them in that place. Poppy isn't allowed to interact with others, and she might be punished if it's learned that, oh my gosh, we are interacting with two other ladies in wait beyond the one we assigned to you. But she shall sit still because she's enjoying their antics. She's watching these girls. The only reason these ladies in wait actually came to sit with Poppy and Tony is because of the handsome guard. Okay? So Poppy, like I said, is observing their antics. So she's just like in her head thinking, Lauren she has already done several things to catch Hawke's attention. She has dropped her pouch of crystals, which Hawke had gallantly assisted her in retrieving, while she pretended to be engrossed with a blue-winged bird hopping along the branches of a tree close to the windows. That had provoked Daphina to feign a faint. Due to what? I had no idea. Somehow, the neckline of her blue gown had slipped so far. I wondered how she managed not to fall out of it. So the ladies, this Lauren and Daphina, these two ladies in wait that joined Poppy and Tony, announced saying something about a Miss Willa Collins, that if that kind of woman were around there, there's no way she would not have ensnared Hawke as per seduced him. Miss Willa Collins was a woman who lived in Macedonia some 200 years ago. She'd apparently had a very active love life. Miss Collins had detailed her rather scandalous affairs quite explicitly in her journal, and it had been filed away in the city Athenaeum, basically city library, as some sort of historical account. So Poppy now makes a mental note to ask Tony to retrieve that journal for her. Poppy's mind is far away. She's stuck admiring Hawke behind her veil. But her mind is pulled back when Lauren mentions Prince Castile. Everyone other than the centers call him the Dark One. They shall say that Prince Castile, they suspect him for damage at the Three Rivers. That apparently they made Brita overhead. I know that all these maids said they used to say everything in front of them, so Brita knows a lot of things. Prince Castile is apparently very handsome. Prince Castile is the Dark One. It's rumored that he's very handsome, which is how he actually started a physical relationship with the Duchess of Three Rivers. And eventually, Prince Castile burned down the place. Tony now tells Lauren, you should really stop saying that name. If someone overhears you, you'll be sent to the temples faster than you can say I knew better. Lauren is excited, Sha. She doesn't really mind what Tony says. She's just excited at the idea that Prince Castile might be at foot. She thinks it would liven up the dull days. Every day just so dull, you know? So this shock of what Lauren says makes Poppy speak up when she shouldn't have. She's not supposed to be interacting with others, remember? So she now tells Lauren, so a good old rebellion may liven things up for you. Dead men or women would provide entertainment. I'm paraphrasing here, summarizing everything Poppy said. Because entertainment is literally let something happen now that is different from our mundane life, which would in turn mean chaos, breaking out. So why do you wish for such a thing? Because you want things to be livened up. So Lauren and the other lady, Daphne, they're shocked first of all that Poppy spoke at all. They're repentant and then they leave soon after. Also, Poppy's gift did that thing again where it opened up and she felt Lauren's excitement and something bitter coming from Lauren. And her hand shivers. She can't tell Tony, who doesn't know about her gift. Because even Tony, as close as Tony is to Poppy, Poppy has not told Tony, I have a gift like this old, I can feel people's pain, or because it's something that is closely guarded. Do you get? It's a closely guarded secret. I don't think Rylan even knew. With both of them left alone again, that is Poppy and Tony, Tony returns the conversation to Hawke. 1 minute, he's walking towards the entryway. They're seeing him going away from them towards the entryway. And next thing, he's sneaking up on them from behind like a ghost. How is he so fast? His charming personality is on full display, like the Hawke she met at the Red Pearl. A well of pain hidden behind a teasing and charming personality. He's here to inform Poppy that Duke Teerman summoned her. Poppy's spine stiffens. It can't be for any good thing because he just summoned her yesterday and he summoned her today again. Today's case must be punishment. So Hawke and Poppy leave. Tony returns her rooms and at the foot of the stairs, he inquires if she's okay as her and her maid seem disturbed. Poppy speaks to him for the first time. Tony is not a maid. Because the fact that Hawke said, you and your maid, Poppy just has to tell her Tony is not a maid. If he recognized her voice, it doesn't show. He carries on a conversation. She trips on the stairs and he catches her. It's a rarity for her to trip. The farther up they go through another staircase, she notes he speaks to her with familiarity, like none other than Victor. It's disconcerting. He lets her know he's seen her before, watching him train. As far as I've noticed you checking me out. This is the height of embarrassment, but it kind of lightens up the mood until she comes to the door where she's to go in and meet the Duke Teerman, and the joke's over. She has to enter the room alone. When she enters, Duke is casually lounging around on a chair. His friend, that Lord Maiden, is with him. Poppy is afraid. The moment he sees her, the Duke now lets loose his favorite words. PENELLAPHE, I am so incredibly disappointed in you. The reason for this lesson is Poppy did not pay attention. She did not pay enough attention in last week's lecture with the priestess. Poppy did not even want to because the women, that is the priestess women, they were happy about how the ladies in wait were unworthy. Also, Poppy looked at him the previous day like she wanted to inflict harm. As far the way Poppy looked at him is why he's disappointed in her. And also, more recently, he learned that there were 2 other ladies in wait in the atrium, that she's not supposed to be socializing. Duke tells her that, of course, the new guard called her beautiful to make her feel good, that she should not think she's actually beautiful. It cuts as sharp as it did when she was 13, when she first heard this thing from him. Poppy is also cautioned against familiarity with Tani, that she's the maiden. They should not get too close to anybody. The gods blessed the ascended with near immortality and unfathomable strength. And they spend their time worrying about who Tony is speaking to. So Tony, this just sounds like misplaced priorities. She speaks up and it ends her 7 strokes instead of 5 strokes. And before this, strokes are landed on her back, she has to strip down to a thin clothing that is basically transparent and they're seeing her body and these men are leering at her. After she comes out and she's grateful that it's Victor waiting, not Hawke. After Poppy entered and he sensed that, oh my God, Poppy's concerned about this meeting with Duke Teerman, Hawke went to go and ask Victor, please, what happens in there that's making Poppy this cautious and afraid? Victor had to lie and now dismissed Hawke for the day. That's why he now came to wait for her. Poppy is just enduring all of these things because she knows that the queen is not aware of this thing that Duke Teerman is doing. And the truth is, she cannot even send the queen a letter to tell her because before anything is sent to the capital is reviewed. You understand? So it's only whenever she sees the queen face to face that she can report this thing that Duke Teerman is doing. Chances are she's not the only one who suffers at Duke Teerman's hands. Others are simply not talking. It's very high that as he's abusive to her, he's abusive to all the rest. Do you understand? That's the nature of an abuser. Poppy wonders just how bad Atlanteans are, that God's blessed men like the Duke instead. How bad are these Atlanteans that the people that now deserve the blessing are people as vile as this Duke? Poppy also lies to Victor that the Duke was alone, that don't worry, he wasn't one in the room. He punished her because he could. Lord Maxine is not supposed to be in that room, but these two people are just two wicked human beings. For 2 days, Poppy is holed up in her room, recovering from the welts of being caned, because he used to use power to cane her very well. She's still having a hard time sleeping. Meanwhile, in the west, where Caledonia was nestled between the Stroud Sea and the Willow Plains, there was no need for glass windows. Summer and spring were eternal there, whereas autumn and winter forever reigned here in Macedonia. On nights like these, when she can't sleep, normally Poppy would explore, but with everything recently happening, she's looking outside of her window where there are 24 burning torches, but suddenly a breeze blows and makes the flames dance wildly before the torches snuff out. Arrows of fire rain down on the other side, moving, creeping smoke. That's the mist. And with that kind of mist, with it came creatures. Poppy already knows what's coming. So Poppy grabs a bow and a cloak, trying to get out. Tony comes in to stop her. But Poppy is able to hurry away. She has less than 3 minutes before the castle is shut down. Crossing the bridge, she notes the archers are waiting. She sneaks into an enclosement, sees red-tipped wooden arrows and gathers them. There's a sound. The sound starts as a low howl, reminding her of the wind during the coldest part of winter. But the moaning gave way to shrill shrieks. Goosebumps pimple her skin and her stomach twist with nausea even as she knocked an arrow. She would never forget that sound. It haunted her dreams, forcing her awake night after night. There's an order to fire. It's Craven. Victor is in the center. Havoc is unfolding. Poppy calms her breath, recalling her training. This isn't the first time she's helping the guards on the rise. She shoots at several Craven, including one about to attack Victor from behind. Many guards have fallen. That is, basically the Craven is getting to them. Although Poppy's shooting at Cravens to defend those guards, one falls backward into air to his death. Cravens may have rotten minds, but they have excellent survival instincts, and that's why they keep going for their guards. Even guards fall into their deaths deliberately while embracing the Cravens, pushing them out beyond the rise. Cravens are at the rise, that is a wall, something meant to keep them away. It quickly became obvious that this Craven, that they're different. They looked less monstrous. Still, their appearance was nothing short of nightmare fodder, but their faces are less hollow, their bodies less shriveled. More or less like, were they just nearly turned? That's possible. Now the battle is wrapping up. Cravens are mostly destroyed. Poppy is knocking an arrow when someone's voice interrupts. And the voice now says, "You must be the goddess Bel or Lila, given mortal form." Poppy is wearing a gown, and her cloak makes it look like she's wearing a cape. And the gown she's wearing has a slit showing her thigh. Hawke had been beyond the rise, and like Victor, as a royal guard, that is not required. But he went out there nonetheless. Respect blossomed in her chest, is warming her, and she reacted without thought, reaching out with her senses to see if he's injured. Because if he's injured, she's going to feel physical pain emanating from him. He now tells her, "You're absolutely magnificent, beautiful." She wants to get away, get mixed up in the ground below, but he gives chase. She gets away from him, running so that he doesn't know she's the one, right? Because he's seen her face already, because he's a god. But he gives chase, he pursues her after she nearly falls him to the ground. It's a game of chase where he sees her satin and steel slipper when he pulls her ankle, then pulls her flush against him, like body against body, you understand? She puts her dagger against his throat, drawing a bead of blood. Thrice in fantasy novels, I've seen the same. like that thing where he pulls her clothes and she has her dagger on his neck. I saw it in Powerless. What was the other story I saw it in recently? I can't remember. But this is the it thought story now. I've seen this scene in. So he now tells her, "You're an absolutely stunning, murderous little creature." Person, he glances down. Nice weapon. It's a weapon of bloodstone and woven bonehead. Very interesting. His gaze now flicked up. Princess. Princess is what he referred to her as at Red Pearl. Now he calls her princess again. He's never called, the maiden princess. But right now that he cornered her that this day, he now calls her princess. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've just been found out. He just found out right now that I'm the one from the red belt. Uh-oh, what does this mean? So this is I'm just kind of going to wrap up the story today. Next episode is going to be longer, like it has to be if we're going to make any progress. Honestly. So I'm going to see you and have an awesome week. See you on Thursday. Thank you.